All right, finally, let's talk about the Dallas Cowboys and their embarrassing loss to, once again, the San Francisco 49ers. Let me ask you if you've ever heard this before. The Dallas Cowboys march into San Francisco ready to show the world. They're ready to compete with the Niners and lose convincingly because that's what the Niners do. The Dallas Cowboys once again lose big to the Niners. This game was never really close, even at the end when it got a little frisky there. But Brock Purdy and the 49ers will always just have the number of the Dallas Cowboys. And the Dallas Cowboys at this point, they're broken, they're lost, and they've never recovered from that humiliating loss at home to the Green Bay Packers last year. They lost their mojo. They lost their identity. This used to be a team that had an identity. We will get you at home, we will boat race you, and our pass rushers will pin their ears back and get to the quarterback. But this team not only lacks talent, it lacks depth. This is a lot of Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and a whole lot of nothing else. The offensive line is fine. The defensive line right now is all banged up. Trayvon Diggs is fighting with reporters. The secondary is okay. The linebackers are okay. But it's to the point of, what is Jerry Jones doing? I'm not even trying to pick at Jerry Jones anymore. I'm just trying to figure out what his game plan is. Because this Cowboys team does have some talent. Dak Prescott is talented. Jake Ferguson is talented. CeeDee Lamb is talented. Trayvon Diggs is talented. Micah Parsons, when playing, is talented. And yet, Jerry Jones, who's making the money here? Who is the person that's getting paid? Why aren't they going out and solidifying the running back position? If Deontay Johnson just got traded for basically a 5th-round pick and nothing else, why in the world don't you go find a running back? I mean, why don't you just go get Tajay Spears from the Titans? Why don't you just go trade for Tony Pollard again? This is not me saying that you need to go get, I don't know, insert good running. This isn't saying call the Cardinals up and see what we can get for James Conner. It's not what I'm doing. I'm not saying that they should go get Alvin Kamara, but moderately upgrade. Go get Tajay Spears from the Titans. Go get Tony Pollard from the Titans. Go get a backup running back from a team that's got a surplus of them. This idea of standing pat with Rico Dowdle and Ezekiel Elliott is just a weird fetish at this point for the Dallas Cowboys. Do they just like looking incompetent? I don't know what the plan is here. And for the first time in my life, I'm not blaming Dak Prescott. Yeah, do I think Dak Prescott is now again overpaid? Yeah. Do I think Dak Prescott at this point in his career is an elite quarterback? No. Do I think he's a top 10 guy? Maybe. But if he is, he's 9 or he's 10. He's not a top 8 guy. But I can't blame him. He's throwing to nobody. Dak Prescott's getting paid. CeeDee Lamb's getting paid. But who else is? Trayvon Diggs' contract isn't that insane. The inability to add a supporting cast around your team, it's just insanity. At this point, you're just wasting the years of the prime players on your team. You think Dak Prescott's going to get better next year? No. If I could sit in a room with one owner in the NFL right now, it would be Jerry Jones. I would just be curious what the plan is. Because your head coach is a lame duck. He's gone at the end of the season. Dak Prescott is not exactly young anymore and is increasingly expensive. CeeDee Lamb is a star wide receiver who you pissed off going into the season because you didn't pay him right away and then ended up paying more than you would have if you just done it earlier. You bring in Zeke Elliott, which literally casual fans were like, why? I just don't see the plan for the Dallas Cowboys. And ultimately, I worry about the future of the Cowboys if I'm a Cowboys fan. This team is horrendous. There are no bright spots. There is not a lot of talent. Outside of one guy on the offensive line and Jake Ferguson's a nice tight end and CeeDee Lamb's awesome, what is there? Micah Parsons, before he got injured, was largely disappointing this year. Granted, it was a small sample size, but he wasn't great. Trayvon Diggs is still working his way back from a torn ACL, but he's fighting with reporters now. It's nonsense. It's chaos. And ultimately, it just shows me that loss to the Green Bay Packers at home was so humiliating that it broke the identity of this team, that it broke this team down to its core. And the only thing I have is Jerry Jones is just letting the contract run out on Mike McCarthy, or just giving him this last year to finally say, yeah, you're out, man. We're going to go make a Godfather offer to Ben Johnson and go get some real players and figure it out next year. But that's the only thing I can get to. If that's not the plan for the Cowboys, it's not just a this year issue. I don't know what they're going to do for years to come. They're going to start trading draft picks for players? At that point, you start getting into the older years of Dak Prescott where he's not as mobile, he's not as elite as he used to be, or he's not as good as he used to be. I can't blame Mike McCarthy. Like, is he a good head coach? He's fine. Is he bad? No. Is he elite? No. But this team is the definition of mid. They're not good anywhere. They're not outstanding anywhere outside of their wide receiver. They have no difference makers. Dak Prescott's not a difference maker. Jake Ferguson's not a difference maker. This defense is bad. Mike Zimmer, once again, is being aged out of the NFL given his schemes are just dated. I don't know what you do if you're the Dallas Cowboys. Usually I'm the guy with strong opinions and beliefs and a very decisive way to go if you're a team. You can't change the quarterback. You just gave Dak Prescott nearly $60 million. You just signed CeeDee Lamb. You're not trading him. I don't see you trading Micah Parsons, even though I would think about it. Are you going to start trading picks for players? The only thing this team can do is fire Mike McCarthy at the end of the season, let him finish it out, and go get Ben Johnson. Godfather offer Ben Johnson. That is the only thing that is saving this team. Because right now, they are incompetent, they're a hard watch, and they're not very talented. If I was ranking the futures of each team in the NFC East, the Cowboys would be in last place. It's not just a this year issue. This isn't we'll take our lumps and figure it out next year. This team doesn't have a lot of talent. They haven't necessarily drafted extremely well. They haven't necessarily hit on elite level players. They can't even get running back right. Every team in the NFL's got running back right because it's not hard. It's just crazy to me that this team still has no plan and still has no identity. And it just seems like they never recovered from that loss to the Green Bay Packers. And, you start to look at their schedule for the rest of the season, and you're looking at a team that could quite possibly be one of the worst teams in the NFL. I mean, you look at teams like Washington, those aren't gimmies anymore. You look at the Dallas Cowboys as a whole having to face the Eagles. Maybe they win one of those, but the Falcons, the Eagles, the Texans, the Commanders, the Bengals, the Bucks, the Eagles, the Commanders again. There's a very good chance this team obviously misses the playoffs, but there's a chance this Dallas Cowboys team doesn't even win 6 or 7 games this year. They are seriously in a doom loop of potentially being one of the worst teams in the NFL this year. They are really flirting with not just incompetency, but irrelevancy. And you passed up on trading for a running back. You've passed up on bolstering this roster. You said no to Devontae Adams. Where's all the money going, Jerry? I mean, you can't take it with you. It's easy to pick on the Cowboys, but this team just has no bright spots. And I'm the one that usually has decisive decisions. I have no idea how you fix this team.